This is Sizzle coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios here in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. Do you want to be part of the 30-day or 60-day transformation? Then contact Karen, aka Sizzle, on any of her social media platforms at Fit to Be Trained. Now here's your host of Sizzle, Karen Dougherty. Special Saturday edition.
I know, right? I know. I was just sitting here thinking, like, wonder how this is going to go. I'm in a great mood. I'm so glad we waited a day. And I people need to understand my partner is a pool guy. So when you're partnering with a pool guy on May 1st or in the beginning of May,
things might have to change.
Yeah, right. Things are going to be changing around a little bit in our world, so bear with us. We're with you. We don't forget you. It's just our jobs are calling, and Steve's for sure on pool season. So Steve,
to our credit, a lot of podcasts don't even have like a determined start time or date. They just put it out there,
right? Which is, I think, is great. I can understand why they do that, so they don't feel the pressure. And I really don't feel the pressure. I like it, though, the way that we run things. This is a great hobby and a great space for us to have a voice about health and wellness, which we love. We can talk about it all day, any day. So it doesn't matter what day we meet. And I upload it pretty much the same time every week. So unless they're catching us live, Steve, they might not even notice. But I do I like that we waited a day, because yesterday was going to be a whole different podcast than it is today. And what's happening today is I want to do the positive benefits of aging, which there are a lot of them. And I want to start out with, because I went out last night. I went to Big Woody's. Big Woody's. Shout out to Big Woody's. We used to have one down here in Virginia Beach on General Booth, and I went to the one. I heard there's two in Chesapeake. I was more by Portsmouth, Churchland, and around that area, and around the mall, but it wasn't Greenbrier Mall. I don't think. Yeah, that wasn't Greenbrier Mall. So anyway, I had such a great time last night. So shout out to that bar. There was the reason why I wanted to include it in today's podcast is a girlfriend's here from Rhode Island, and we're doing the Relay for Life together. That's cancer that benefits cancer, and all the proceeds go to research in cancer. And my girlfriend is a survivor of cancer, and when she comes into town, we like to go out, and she's still got her party on. I love her. She's only a little bit younger than me. She still likes to go and have her cocktails, and she likes to look at the men, and it's just fun to hang out with her. So that's someone that never let cancer get her down or slow her down, I might add. And there's a serious story to her too. But last night we weren't doing anything serious. We were having a really, really good time. And she had never been to Big Woody's. She left me in charge, and I knew about how good that place was down here. So we went there, and they were having a shag dance night. So shag dancing is partners. And granted, I don't shag dance. I would like to learn how to line dance, but shagging is not my thing. A girlfriend of mine was into it back in the day in Minneapolis, and we used to follow her around because it's fun to watch. It's beach music mostly, and you can shag dance to any kind of music, but I don't want to pretend I know about it. It has to probably have a certain beat or something. But I'm 60 this summer, and anybody that knows me has to listen to that constantly, because I am so happy that I have arrived at this space, and it's a privilege to age. I know. I love it. I love this part of life already. I'm only 59, but I'm already making goals for like what I want to do in this next chapter. And most of the people that were shagging last night had me at about 10, 20 years. And I was like, God, if I'm 60, how old are these people? So, because they were quite a bit older. And I thought, wow, it's 8 o'clock on a Friday night, and these people are out literally cutting a rug and having a great time and laughing. And there was probably 50 of them. It was like 25 couples, if not more. So I asked a little bit about it, and they are a club that travels around the area and goes to different bars that have the space, that can house them where they can dance. And I thought, that's something to do when you're getting older, to join something where you're with others, because that's the only downfall I think of aging for me personally, is that I tend to isolate more. I love watching TV. I am a couch potato that doesn't get to really do that during the week because of my job. But I love, especially a day like this, Steve, when I'm done work today.
Rainy and cold.
Oh, yeah, it's rainy and cold here in Virginia. I will try. I'm kind of excited today, so I might not get to do it till tomorrow, but I am going to try to snuggle up on the couch in my bed or something and watch. There's so much stuff on Netflix now. I watch a lot of junk TV, but that I don't want to get into that. What I'm getting at is that I tend to isolate. So to say yes to friends that ask me to go out is something I'm going to really force myself to do, because Friday nights I'm usually pretty tired because of my job, but I purposely took a nap. I slept really good on Thursday night, so I knew I didn't have an excuse. And I said yes to her on Wednesday. When she asked me, I said yes. And I think that's the key with these folks last night. Like, I can't tell you how happy they were. Their happiness was contagious. It's a giant bar. So they were on one side of the bar and we were on the other, but it was contagious all the way to our side of the bar. There was, our side of the bar was more sports, and there was pool in the back. So there was a different kind of music, but everybody was jamming and everybody was happy. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to keep saying yes, going out, doing things. And to add to that, after the shaggers were gone, because they probably danced from 7 to 9, then it became a different crowd. And a girl came in and was getting food to go. And me and her started talking, and I won't go into names and all that kind of stuff because I don't have permission, but she's a therapist at CHKD. And we really got into health and wellness talk, talking about health and wellness as we age, like for myself. And then she works with children. And it was such a great connection. Like, I look forward to hopefully working with her professionally in the future, having her on the podcast or something. So getting out and about is such a great way to not only meet people, but like even networking for your own business. And she was the same way. She was like, man, I wasn't really supposed to be here tonight. And then we're both little God girls. So we got into that. Like, it must be God. Because everything good in my life, I blame on that. I'm like that. So I won't push that on y'all either. But we bonded over that too. And it was just really a great night. And then even like my girlfriend, how her getting out and about as a survivor after cancer. And we got a chance to talk about the relay that we're doing next month. And I don't know, people. I guess what I'm trying to say, as good as TV is right now, because I'm with you, I like it too. Try and get out with the weather being nice. Now, granted, me and my friend were like, all right, we're coming back to this place because they had a big outdoor area, and Virginia is cold right now. So there wasn't any outdoor going on. But it was just a really, really great night. I highly recommend that bar. The bartenders, the staff, we didn't have to wait for a drink, food, nothing. It was really
We should check out this. There's this one networking group that I don't know who runs it, to be honest, but I got a couple of friends in there, and I swear they meet once a week somewhere. They have huge draw out of all kinds of people from all kinds of different industry.
I know there's a local one. There is one that I always snoop on. And they meet at local bars, like they were at Hot Tuna.
It just because it's at a bar doesn't mean you have to drink.
Oh, I don't drink. I love a bar too. I am sorry. When I was a drinker, I was a bar drinker. And when I quit drinking, I started working in a bar. And I don't go to bars enough.
Well,
like
I think we have a good amount of audience though who are drinkers probably, and they don't go to the bar now because they perceive it as expensive, which it is. And that's a big reason I think why people don't go out. The money right off the bat. And then after that, it's just not even a question. Like, I don't want to spend $100 or
exactly,
but maybe plan to get out and not drink and then soak in the atmosphere that way.
Yeah, because I was joking with Steve before.
You don't want to drink and drive and be on the roads or even pay for an expensive Uber at this point anyway. You get gouged that way, right?
It is nice though that we have Uber if you do want some drinks, because I said that to my girlfriend. I wanted to find a bar that was close by for her because that way she could Uber because she's a grandma, and being a grandma is fun, I bet, but it's a lot of work and you kind of need some adult time sometimes. So Uber is a great source so we don't drink and drive. That's for sure. I wish they had that when I was young because I got a DUI. I got caught drinking and driving when I was young. So yeah, don't do that. But I want you to know too, you can have a really good time not drinking. I drank Diet Coke, which is so bad for you. And I said to Steve this morning, I was like, man, I have such a hangover from drinking caffeine. And we were talking about soda pop. Like, it's just not that good for you. So I was thinking the next time I go out, I'm going to drink cranberry juice. My girlfriend was drinking vodka and cranberry, and I thought, why don't I drink that? You know, like, why am I drinking?
Watch that cranberry juice. I think that one's shoved with sugar too, to be honest.
Well, you're right. A lot of the fruit juices do have a lot of sugar.
Yeah, they're masked.
But
if they sound healthy, then
yeah, you're right. But I'm wondering, like that soda pop. I mean, I stayed up till midnight. Like, maybe that's why I'm kind of feeling it today. But
you know what a good drink is, actually?
What?
Water and squeeze some oranges in it.
Oh yeah, or like lemon.
It's like a light diet. Yeah. If you like lemon,
I do.
But oranges is a good alternative if people don't want a lime or.
And you're right. Like that's really. Yeah, like how come more people don't do that? How come it is always lemon? Because lemon isn't for everybody. I guess it was trying to compete with orange juice, but I think orange water would probably taste really, really good. And I think they do that, like in the spas. They'll cut the slices and then put it in the top of the water, and it looks really fancy. It's very pretty. But I'll get on to the positive benefits of aging. Because I love this part of my life. I feel like I'm reaping the benefits of perseverance because me and that gal were talking about it last night. Like, a lot of things in life are persevere. Will you fail and fall down? And yes, absolutely. But just keep standing up. We were talking about how I don't drink, because alcohol and I don't know how to stop. And maybe after 15 years of sobriety, I would know how, but I don't take that risk because there's a rumor I'm alcoholic, and there's a rumor that it doesn't get better. So I just don't take that risk. But you have a stronger self as you age. So it's kind of like, who you are, what you value, and what you're done tolerating. And I'm done tolerating alcohol. I can't seem to do it. And I was 15 years ago. But the stronger sense of self has really been hitting home for me. Like, I say no to things a lot easier now. I don't feel indebted or have to say yes to everything. And I think that's an issue that a lot of women deal with as a culture, we want to help everybody, and you just can't. You have to learn how to say no gracefully and give yourself grace too, So, having a stronger sense of stronger sense of self helps you kind of weed out any kind of toxicity. If there's some, tasks or relationships that you're having that really aren't that healthy for you, you have the sense of self to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I love that about aging, a better emotional regulation. So fewer knee-jerk reactions, more perspective, more wisdom in conflict. I love that. More wisdom in conflict. What's that for me? Keep your mouth shut. Sometimes it's smart to just say nothing. And that comes with maturity. Because me and my girlfriend were just talking about that, because she's been staying with her daughter for like over a month. And sometimes mothers and daughters, we clash. I don't know what it's like for you guys, Steve, but women as mom and daughters, it's a tough thing. We tend to clash in adult life when you're trying to raise kids and stuff. And her daughter have been getting along just fine. And she goes, I've matured enough to know to shut my mouth. And I was like, man, I'm so happy that you saw that as maturity, because that's another thing with aging that I love, that you have the self-regulation, emotionally when to turn it on and when to turn it off. More perspective, more experiences, confidence from lived experiences. Like as a trainer in here for 40 years, I'm a master trainer whether I like it or not. You're a master pool guy whether you like it or not. We both bartended for years. We're master bartenders whether we like it or not. I mean, if you've been doing something for a really, really long time, tend to get good at it. And because of the experience in life, with my past addictions and present addictions, sometimes we just cover one with another. um I feel like I can really be helpful to people, like really listen to their stuff and have a really good answer for being helpful. And sometimes being helpful is not saying anything at all, like learning to just listen. And I feel like all this stuff really does come with maturity. And not that I'm putting down our younger generation. I love passing the baton to the younger ones and showing and being a good example and showing them the benefits, because like I've been in the health and wellness industry for 40 years. So when I would work for certain buildings, like say I've been working for the senior population since I was 30 years old, and now I'm considered a senior. So it's really cool how that door, that it all became one, everything came full circle. But I was never really afraid of aging as a younger person either, because I was always around that positive aging group. So if I'm working in the fitness department in a senior facility, all the people that are coming in my part of the building are very positive. They're happy, they're active, their endorphins are going. So I didn't really have the fears of aging like some of my peers might have, not having that to look forward to, really. And even though my peers that are older than me and ahead of me have made me excited for this time, I didn't really realize how great it is. And I do want to say, and I'll get into the negative parts, I don't mean to not acknowledge those of us that have not had a great experience with aging too. I am just focusing on this part of it right now. We have deeper relationships. I think that we have fewer friendships. Unfortunately, some of the friendships get weeded out because of our lack of time I think we're more looking at time and unfulfilling experiences. So we might get rid of some of those toxic relationships and keep the relationships that are really fulfilling to us. And I think that's really cool too. Our tolerance is less. And so we're going to keep the ones that are really, really bringing fulfillment. And we can feel that we're fulfilling too. So I like that we do have deeper relationships. We might have fewer because I do fear loneliness a little bit because I do have fewer relationships. I'm not so out there and have a bunch of acquaintances anymore. So it is a little scary threshold to do, to come through with that one, but more gratitude for health, for good health, like when I would get sick for a couple days and feel really, really crappy, and then that day that you feel better, how you're like, God, it makes you really grateful and feel for the people that are maybe dealing with an illness that's constant, like something as serious as cancer that you just don't get over in a couple days. It makes you really, really empathize for our peers that are struggling with an illness or an injury. Watching my son go through this injury and staying positive like he has is so cool. And so it's hard for me to feel sorry for myself when I got two legs. Both my legs are working, and and then I'm around this person that one of his isn't yet, and he's still really positive. It's like, okay, I'm grateful for my health. Less pressure to perform. I like that. Less pressure to perform. You stop chasing trends, start choosing what actually works for you. And I agree with that. Like, I don't feel as performative out in life as a woman, first of all. And fitness wise, I'm not trying to do things that I probably really can't do. Although I am going to try line dancing. I'm really excited about that. I even found another woman that goes down to the bank on Thursday nights. They have free lessons.
Oh, wow.
I know, I'm super excited. I want to do that. The only thing is that because of my fitness training job, I'm usually really tired by like Thursday or Friday. It's one or the other. So I'm trying to be realistic and set boundaries, but like I can take a nap. I can figure it out because I want to do this. So Thursday nights, I've got to figure out how I can make sure I got my energy all ready because I work pretty hard on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Thursday I have a light day, and I'm usually like, but I could take a nap. I mean, there's ways of getting your needs met and doing what you need to do. Peak mental strength. I don't know if I agree with that, but let's see what peak mental strength, resilience, problem solving, and emotional endurance improve with age. I don't know that I have felt that. I was going to say that's kind of more on my negative, because I don't feel like my problem solving skills are as quick. Maybe they're wiser. Maybe that's what we're trying to look at here with this particular bullet point, is that we're not going to make quick, unthought out decisions. So maybe that's it. Because I do miss my ability to make snap decisions. I really weigh things out, and maybe that is a positive. Perhaps I made decisions a little too hasty back when I was younger. So freedom from comparison. You stop measuring yourself against a 25-year-old and start celebrating your lane. So yes, I agree with that. I don't feel competitive at all in this age group. And I never really was a very competitive person, but I definitely did feel like I had to look a certain way all of my life, whether it was culture that wanted me to do it. I was in jobs that expected me to look nice. Like you think of a flight attendant, they're expected, and maybe not so much today. People are taking a lot of those parameters, but I repeat, I'm 60 years old. So I came from generations where you were expected to look a certain way. I was a cocktail waitress when I was young. I don't even know that they really have cocktail waitresses anymore, but we used to dress up in, dress down, I should say. We were wearing it. We were, what do you say? We were
Risque.
Yes. And we were selling that in a sense, that's how we were selling our drinks. And that's why you got hired. And, so I come from a generation of that. I did a lot of bartending and cocktail waitressing. And in my young years, I mean, I was in the bars by the time I was 17. We weren't allowed behind the bar, but we were serving. And like I said earlier in the podcast, I've always loved bars. Bars have been very, very good to me. Whether it be, I loved drinking because I was alcoholic. And then when I quit drinking, it provided a good salary for me. And because I always did it as a side job, whether I was fitness training, whether I was a drafter. Drafting, not so much, because back then I was still drinking and I really couldn't work in bars. I did for brief times. And, I've always had a bar in the back pocket. I tried to teach my son that because we live in Virginia Beach. I was like, dude, you should always have that as a side job. It's such a great way to make money. It's social. You meet people, but he never took on to that. But I did my whole life from the time I was 19 to 41. I worked in bars part-time at some time or another, maybe not straight, but pretty much so. And then when I turned 41, I had my son, and I really I didn't have time. My son was my second job. But better decision making, we talked about that. A more compassionate view of yourself. I love that. And I think a more compassionate view of others too. We tend to be more compassionate. We've seen more. We've seen how failure is a part of life. And it is hard, it is something when you watch young people go through their stuff and kind of have to keep your mouth shut and let them go through it, or let them find out that the world is not as kind, or that, there's people out there that will hurt your feelings, and whether intentional or not intentional, it's a hard lesson to learn. And people got to learn that on their own, unfortunately. And when you get to be my age, you've seen a lot of it, so you're more compassionate. Like a homeless guy came up to me when I was pumping gas the other day and asked me for $1, and I was like, $1? I can do better than that. And I gave him a 5. That's what I had. And he was young, and I said, be careful out here, and I said, it's dangerous out here. It is, people, you guys need, use, he said something about God. And I said, you keep using God as your guide of who you can talk to and who you can't. And he seemed to really appreciate it. And then I called him sweetheart because he was young. He was like somebody's kid, and now that I'm older, and it's just, you see people soften when you talk to them and treat them with humanity and compassion, in not meaning who, it doesn't matter who they are. And I realize I'm a paycheck away from being homeless, like the way the cost of living is becoming, like, we're not any better than anyone else. We're not, it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter who you are. The cost of living is going up for all of us. Addiction has never been racist, and neither is poverty. Doesn't care who you are, what color you are, so us being compassionate to one another is very, very important. And you never know what somebody's going through. I mean, I've had 2 family members very close to me be homeless, and explain that world is full of mental illness, And a lot of people judge them, and they might not be somebody that can hold down a job. What I did find out about them, and I was sharing this with one of my clients, is in homelessness, within that world, there are bullies. How could we think there wasn't? So when you see that person on the corner, they might, like, almost like a prostitute has a pimp, they have somebody that they have to hand their money to. That was so disheartening to me when I found that out. I was like, what? But of course, it's always the survival of the fittest. That's why we need to condition our, make sure that we have spaces for our homeless. And because there's people out there that might really be not addicted, not, what am I trying to say, mental ill, that just, one paycheck away, the rents are going up so high. It's hard for people to afford this kind of life. I mean, something's got to give. And I don't want to get into that because that is depressing. I want to keep this podcast today positive, but it is something that I want people to think about, at least our listeners. Try not to judge people that are out there. You don't know who they are, and you don't know what's going on with them. And most likely, if they're out there, they don't want to be. And some of them do. People have argued with me, don't give them money, they're addicts. If you feel like that, they might not be addicts, but if you feel like that, get gift cards or whatever, like Subway or something. If that makes you feel more comfortable, then give them like a gift card for food or something. Just try not to just step over and ignore them. Please, please, please don't. Your physical strength can still improve. So moving out of the compassion and the mindful stuff, your physical strength can still improve. Don't be sold that BS that you're done, you're washed up. Muscle mobility and performance can still grow well in your 60s and beyond. I've had clients start in their 60s. Do they get muscle bound and all that kind of stuff? No. and possibly they could if they had the right coach. I'm not coaching for muscle bound, but I have coaches that are, so I could send you to them and you could try. And I think there are supplements and stuff that you can do, but you definitely can build mobility and a healthy amount of muscle mass that you need to get around. But people think of like the big muscles like superheroes or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even Arnie's got his own podcast talking about how to build muscle. It's a good one. I listen to it once in a while. So yeah, that's that's hard for all of us. But more joy in simplicity. So small things hit harder. A good walk, a good laugh, a good meal. That is so true. There is more joy in simplicity and a sense of legacy. I do like the idea of my son picking up the baton with real estate. I had a lot of good luck with real estate when I was younger, and my son is enjoying the benefits of learning that field in business, and I'm super proud of him. Becoming a role model. Like I love passing the baton. Like when we had the young girl Rebecca on, and how she made that comment about us and Retro Fitness Babes site, how she appreciated us supporting her so much. And here's a young girl in her 20s coming from Romania that wants a chance, and she deserves it. She's a great trainer. I'm still following her. She gets prettier every day.
We were her first ever show to ask her. She's like, what's this American show asking me to be on there?
I know. And she really appreciates it. And I hear from her from time to time, and I check up and see her all the time on Instagram and vice versa. She always likes my stuff. And it's just fun to build bonds with these young people. And sitting in the bar last night, we were joking around about the millennials, Gen X, and the baby boomers. Like, I'm 1966, so I barely am a Gen Xer, but I am one. And so I get to kind of float in both of those worlds. And it was cute because these younger people were like, I'm not a millennial. I'm not a millennial. And they were 38. We had an even younger one sitting with us last night. So, yes, millennials are different than us. And I like learning from the young generation. And they seem to enjoy learning from us if we approach them in a compassionate, not know it all way. Because what's cool about them is they're learning new techniques. Even as a fitness trainer, they're learning things. Like, I remember when I was in school, we did everything bilaterally. You did things both sides. You never just did one side. It just wasn't. And that little thing that came with the next generation, and that's very efficient, to move one arm at a time and do things on one side. And I'm not saying that we never did. It's just I remember learning exercises and being like, this is really cool. And it was a long time ago, but I knew it was a newer source of education. So they're always learning things. I do find that things loop around too, just like styles do. Clothing styles definitely loop around. A lot of fitness stuff comes back into style. Look how Pilates was like from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And then nobody really knew about it. I learned about it in the 90s. It was like on the down, like, and then now it's like super trendy. So, and yoga is something from what? BC, before Christ, So, I mean, some stuff really just stays around and sticks around. You care less about opinions and you're still capable of reinvention. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I don't really care what people think anymore because I know it kind of goes back to the first one with that stronger sense of self. I like who I am. I really don't want to change, except for in a positive way. And I am trying to reinvent myself right now. I'm becoming more of a trainer to look at people with great, have clients come to me that are struggling with, and they always came with injury. I always specialized in that, but I'm getting a lot of mindset kind of stuff. I actually am getting a lot of athletes too right now that are realizing the benefits of mobility. I'm It's kind of funny. Like, I'm right now really trying to reinvent myself. Like, who am I serving right now? Because it's kind of a mishmash, and just waiting to see where my path takes me. Some of the negative aspects of aging, I almost wish I would have done these first, but you have a slower recovery. The challenges, the workouts, the stress, the injuries take longer to bounce back from. So that is something that we have to take in mind and make sure that we prioritize our sleep, mobility, eat enough protein, which can be hard because you'll notice um, perhaps uh, you're not as hungry as you were. And I'm not as hungry as I used to be at all. I used to be a little piggy, and people made comments about it because I was pretty petite, but I could eat so much because I was pretty muscle bound and I ate pretty healthy. I would just eat a lot. And I would eat the unhealthy stuff too, like desserts. I enjoyed desserts, but now I crave more of the desserts versus I crave I'm not as hungry, so when I want to eat the fun stuff per se. So that is something that I've noticed about myself, and that's going to change my body type. So I really have to work on making sure I get enough protein in, and smart programming rather than more is better. Thinking like that with your food and with your fitness. Like, I worry about more about my workouts. And you heard me, like, I want to go out and do that line dancing. So I'm going to take a nap before. So you're thinking more about your recovery and how you're going to get through things, which is just kinder. If you think about it, when you were young, it was like, go, go, go. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Remember, we used to say that. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I would just party all night long, go to work. It was crazy. Hormonal shifts as you age, your energy, your mood, your body composition fluctuates, which is kind of like what I talked about with the slower recovery. So in order to support that, make sure you do some sort of strength training, consistent nutrition, and talk to a qualified provider, about things like that. I'm a personal trainer. There's nutritionists. There's plenty of help on there. And I'm a Chat GPT fan, and I'm not telling people go to Chat GPT because it's not perfect, but it's certainly a source. It does help. It definitely helps on so many levels. It can give you the basics. You punch in what is a really nutritious meal for who you are, how much you weigh, and your age, and you'd be surprised what Chat will spit back out at you. It's mind-boggling. And people are like, well, aren't you afraid it'll put you out of work? And no, because I think we still need that human. The human interaction is very important, and we have to remember that. I have to remember that after I just told you I like isolating and getting in front of the computer or the TV. So yes, I crave that human touch. Like, I'm not really getting my nails done, and I don't mean human touch necessarily physically. I mean the human interaction that I had last night was very fulfilling. And because my girlfriend's in town, we went to Beach Pub last Sunday. So it's like, I'm so glad she's here and I'm going out. But another thing too is I'm not getting my nails done because I live on a budget. That's part of aging too. So I'd rather use that money to get my lawn done. So what I do is get my feet done because it's summer. I don't necessarily put nail polish and all that on, but I need to get my feet cleaned up, and the human touch of getting a massage is important. It's important for your health. So if you don't have a lover or a husband or a wife or whatever's going on and you're not getting that, you want to try and get it somewhere, because it produces a hormone. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to dig a little deeper and tell you what the hormones are, but it is essential to have some sort of, like, even when they're massaging my feet, I feel, obviously it's relaxing and stuff, but like I said, I'll dig deeper into that, but there is a hormone that's released that helps, and it helps with wellness. Joint stiffness and mobility loss. So the challenge is things creak, pop, and and complain. Like, literally, I do a mobility class, and sometimes I joke. I'm like, you can hear my ankle popping and creaking, but I don't know. I have plenty of young friends that pop and creak too. That's literally just gas air coming out of your joints. It really is.
I do so much popping and creaking. It's not even
and
funny.
You probably did it when you were young too. I used to have a really poppy knee when I was young. Like, my knees are actually better now. Well, I wouldn't say they're better now, but when I was young, I had one that would always pop. Muscle loss if ignored. So the challenge would be, it's called sarcopenia. It's real, but it's not inevitable. It doesn't have to. Like, that's where your muscles atrophy. So I really feel like, I mean, granted, you're going to age. You can't fight it. But if you're really doing everything that you can by, eating the right foods, eating enough calories and protein, you'll age in a kinder way. We're all going to age. It's not going to go away. And our culture does kind of poo-poo it. And it's a shame, because I didn't see one person last night sitting in a corner sad because they were aging. They were having a great time. And I think that I was so glad to see that, because I've been feeling it anyway, but that was such a great representation of it, that yes, we need each other. We need others. It doesn't matter what color, race, religion, size, sexuality. It doesn't matter who you are. We're all going to age, and we all need to be compassionate towards one another. Gosh darn it. Support lifting weights, eating enough protein, blah, blah, blah. I get sick of hearing the protein thing. God, don't you? That and hormones, but it is real. We talked about social shrinking. So the challenge would be friend circles get smaller with life changes. Join communities, gyms, clubs, classes. I don't need to repeat what we just talked about earlier. And the fear of becoming invisible. I think this is a good one because I have noticed I've noticed that you do become invisible. I'm enjoying the becoming invisible, but I can see, and there's times that I don't enjoy it. There's times that I talk and literally nobody listens to me, and um or you don't get acknowledged as much because the younger group, I don't know why that is. It is interesting, but like going into a gym as an older woman is like you are invisible, where you're insecure as hell when you're young. So that right there, I'm not I'm not going to speak on, like I said, I met a therapist last night. That would be stuff I could talk about more with her. Like what is that? Why do we feel more invisible, or are we literally more invisible? They just don't see us. But um that does happen. The support would be visibility through movement, style, humor, and refusing to shrink yourself. I like that because sometimes I feel like oh, I'm sorry I talk too much, and I do try to quiet myself just cuz sometimes I'm so loud because of my job. I'm a fitness trainer. I do have a loud voice, and in the morning it can be a lot in my household. So I do try to shrink myself a little bit, but maybe not. Maybe then I'd be heard more. Increased health and monitoring. So, yes, you do need more screenings, more appointments. You always notice that, like, older people are always going to the doctor. So, there is that. Support would be reframe it as empowerment, catching things early as strength, not a weakness. So, you do want to keep your appointments. And yes, knowledge is power. That is true. Energy fluctuations challenge. Some days you feel 30, some days you feel 90. Been there. I honor that. Oh, and that's what it says. Honor your body's signals without quitting on yourself. Yeah, so I think that's looking at yourself with grace. Honor that. Wow, I'm tired today. Well, what did you think, you weren't going to be as tired just because a 20-year-old could keep going? You A buddy of mine said a long time ago, he was talking about his kids, and he's like, I'm trying to understand that this is their time now. It's not about me anymore. And I was like, I really filed that in the back of my head. I was like, yeah, it's true. It is. It's their time. We had our time. We got to do, burn the candle at both ends and not hurt. We had our time, and now that's over. And so we have to honor that. I will take a nap before I go line dancing, where my son probably doesn't need to do that. Support was keep what works. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. It says honor your body's signals. A technology fatigue challenge. Everything changes fast and feels overwhelming. That is the absolute truth with technology. I think even young people struggle with that because stuff is constantly changing. So, yes, the support would be keep what works, ignore what doesn't, and don't apologize for not chasing every trend. So if you don't have the latest app, who cares? I never got into TikTok. I was so engrossed in Instagram and Facebook that I was like, I just am too overwhelmed. I missed that run. So, and I don't care. I'm not sad about it. It's okay. I hear TikTok is fantastic and I'm so happy for them. I am enjoying myself. Heck, I know some people that I don't know if I still know people without cell phones, but, and I don't mean cell phone, I mean smartphone. So yeah, don't apologize for not wanting to grasp onto every little thing. Letting go of old identities. So the challenge would be career roles or physical abilities shift. So the support would be create new identities. So athlete, mentor, creator, leader, instead of clinging to the old ones. And I'm glad that's the one on the bottom of the list, because that is the one that I see the most with my age group. They're clinging on to what they used to be. And I want to visit that just for a second before we close, because I did do that. I remember being angry at CrossFit because I couldn't do their workouts anymore. And I can do their workouts. I just have to modify. And then our particular gym did what's called the daily dose. So they did another workout that was even much easier and modified. And so he answered our prayers with that. But even if your gym doesn't do that, don't try to cling on, just modify everything. Tone it way down. And if you don't know how to do it, a trainer or a coach inside your facility will know how to do it. Or chat GPT. What's the alternative for a lunge? And it'll come out. Because chat GPT is drawing information from everything that I plug into the internet and every other trainer in the world. So don't be afraid of it. It used to be, before this, we had YouTube. I used to always preach to all my clients, YouTube is your friend. YouTube is your friend. You can plug anything into YouTube. You can build a house through YouTube. You just got to do it right and pray that you're doing it as well. Like, I wouldn't try and do plumbing unless I was a plumber, but people do try, and some succeed and some don't. But just like, don't try to hold on to who you used to be, because that is a setup for failure. It truly is. It's not fair. And it's like me expecting to be my skin to be as full of vibrance as it was even 20 years ago as a 40-year-old. I mean, it's not possible. So I let it go. And I don't know. I don't know how to tell you how implementing these things has really helped me. And then when I was out with my girlfriend last night, how watching those people that had me by about 10 to 20 years really show me the truth in that. Like, they weren't trying to be young. They were done by 9 too, I might add. They were all probably home in their PJs by 9:30. Very few stayed, but they danced their heart out for 2 hours. I didn't get there till 8 or 8:30, so I would say they were probably there at 7, 6 or 7. Maybe they had dinner together. But I mean, I really want people to see the benefits. And if you're young listening to this, think about that with your parents. Think about that they're going through these things. Or if you're a younger trainer, we're happy to pass the baton to you, and look at everybody with more compassion. It's so fun because you don't really know what they're going through. And me and this gal were talking about it last night. A smile, it doesn't matter what language you speak, a smile gets through every single language. Everybody knows what it is. So I remember being in Mexico years ago, and I made friends with this girl on a tour, and we didn't understand a word each other was saying, but we could smile and nod. And we were doing it was like a hike and a boat ride, and we were with our boyfriends, and we just had the best time, and we never even spoke. We couldn't understand each other's language. It was that was a lesson I learned young. A smile and happiness gets you everywhere. And I just, like I said, it'll be August 16th is when I turn 60. So you've got a long way to have to listen to me turning 60. I'm turning 60. I'm super excited about it. And I just want people to look at it as a more positive thing. And if somebody says to you, because I'll say to younger people, I'm older now. Maybe I shouldn't say I'm old, because they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yes, I am. It's okay. I'm not sad about it. It's okay. You don't have to feel sorry for me. Like, not all of us are bumming out that we're getting older. Like, there's a lot of us like me that are like, woo, we made it. And I was just at the grocery store earlier, and Prince is on the front of Rolling Stone, and it's he didn't make it. He didn't make it to 60. I don't think. He might have. But me being in recovery and knowing how many funerals I went to, I was talking to a guy last week. He was like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And he goes, "I think I know you from the rooms." And he was talking about AA and NA. And even though I haven't been there in a while, I usually go to help people when they're getting sober. I don't go there all the time. So I was really felt good that somebody recognized me from those rooms. But we were talking about that, and I was like, think how many of our peers don't make it till 60. So me being in recovery, I do tend to really have that extra gratitude for being able to make it this long, because some of my best friends, I had to go to their funerals and lose them. And it is a privilege to get older. So take care of yourselves, people. And before I go, I unfortunately can't share things through this, but a girlfriend of mine sent me a picture of Prince the other day, and it was funny because it said, "Now I know this bitch didn't just ask me to play Thriller." Because whoever it was a young person was getting Prince confused with Michael. So my age group definitely knows the difference between Prince and Michael Jackson. So do us a favor, don't get us confused. So with that, I'll tune out. Here's to positive aging, my friends. I got to get to work. Actually, I've got an appointment in about 10 minutes virtually with a girl from Minnesota. And she's a little bit older than me. She's in her 60s, and we're going to do a 30-minute strength training.
Sounds fun.
So have a great day, Steve.
You too, guys. Karen, have a great one. Everyone stay dry if you're out there in the storm.
Don't forget to ride that couch and watch some TV. Unapologetically. How long did I go?
56 minutes, 55 seconds.
Ugh. I try and keep it a little less than that, but as long as I don't repeat myself, I'm okay with that. My poor client must have read that at 12:05. She's like, "No problem. Thank God."